A new moon in Capricorn, December 30th, 2024, the last new moon of the year, the new moon cycle that will be taking us into the first month of 2025 on the calendar year. Hello, my name is Eliane Nicole. I'm your astrologer and tarot reader, and in this video, I am going to talk about the Capricorn new moon, which in many ways it's the business time new moon. It's a great new moon for setting intentions around, your business plan for 2025 and, your responsibilities, your obligations, your work, your professional life, your ambitions, your status, your reputation. But before I get into the full interpretation about this particular new moon in Capricorn and what makes it unique to this year that we're entering and this particular time that we're in, I want to say, if you're watching this on Instagram, I'm just going to post the first 5 minutes here. This is actually the last time I will be posting these 5-minute clips on Instagram. I'm changing my format going into 2025. There will be a link in my profile bio always to get to my YouTube channel. I will continue to put links in my stories on Instagram when I post a new YouTube video, but I am changing the format of what I'm going to be doing on my Instagram wall coming into the new year. So if you are already watching this on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Please hit the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers. That's my next milestone as of right now, and we're very close on YouTube, so please help me get there. When you subscribe, when you like, when you comment, when you share, it helps me grow my business. It helps me grow my community. It helps me in the algorithm, and it puts me in a position to continue to give these free astrological offerings. If you are watching this on Instagram, please make sure that you are following astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole. Please like, please comment, please share. It's free for you and it's very helpful to me. And now without further ado, I'm going to talk about this new moon in Capricorn, the final new moon of 2024. And new moons, if you follow my astrology, you know that new moons are seed planting moments. We are planting seeds at every new moon, whether we are conscious of it or not. So we might as well do it with some intention. And it's even more supported when we focus on the intentions of what sign the new moon is in. And again, when we're talking about Capricorn, Capricorn is the cardinal earth yin temple of Saturn. So we have to look at where's Saturn, where's this new moon's host. Saturn is currently in Pisces, and so we have to combine these energies, particularly because this new moon is in a sextile with Saturn in Pisces. So this new moon in Capricorn is in a sextile with its host, Saturn, who is currently in Pisces. And sextiles are of the nature of Venus, so they are harmonizing aspects. They are benefic aspects. They're beneficial. Sextiles are not quite as strong as trines, so the benefits aren't just landing in your lap. The benefits aren't just being handed to you on a silver platter, but there's an opportunity that's being presented, and you have to recognize the blessing to receive it. You have to proactively co-create with the energy. And what the sextile in Pisces is doing, Saturn in Pisces, we're learning a lot about Saturn in Pisces from March 2023 until February or March of 2026. Saturn in Pisces has been constantly strumming the chord of emotional maturity, emotional boundaries, and emotional intelligence. But the other side of Saturn in Pisces is that there is an opportunity to give form to the dream. There's an opportunity to give structure to the dream. Pisces is the dream. Yes, Pisces is also our emotional life. And Pisces is a spiritual sign, you know. I think that there's a lot in this new moon about the importance, and as we enter this new year, the importance of a spiritual discipline in our lives. And for some people, that is religious. But for some people, it's their own form of spirituality. It doesn't really matter. Everyone can reach that relationship with God or with a higher power in different ways. You know, there are many different religions. There are many different spiritual philosophies. The importance is of having one. And I think that that's becoming increasingly more apparent to people how important that is. And that relationship with God or with a higher power, it is a discipline. That's what Saturn in Pisces is teaching us. That's what this sextile of the new moon in Capricorn, which Capricorn is an earth sign, so it is so much about form and structure and systems. And yes, Capricorn is mainly usually related to things like business and ambition and money and status and that climb, that steady climb up the hill. But when it's sextile to Saturn and Pisces, there is an opportunity here to create a spiritual discipline that works in our lives, and also to give a container to our emotional life and to bring form to the dream. You know, all of those different concepts, ideas are expressed in this new moon formation. So yes, you can write your business plan and you can write your financial plan for 2025, and that's important because we live in the 3D reality, and that's what Capricorn is so in touch with, right? This 3D reality that we live in. But the sextile to Saturn and Pisces is an invitation from the universe to go beyond just the business plan, but like, what is our spiritual philosophy behind our work that we're doing? What is our spiritual philosophy behind business, behind how we approach our business relationships, behind how we interact with our employees or our staff or our business partners? You know, even things like work and money and business need to be supported by a spiritual foundation. And then this lunation also invites us to give form to the dream. Saturn is in Pisces. Pisces is about the dream. Neptune is in Pisces. Saturn is slowly approaching the conjunction with Neptune, which is such a historic and monumental aspect that's coming up. And it's not here yet, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but I will say that at this lunation, we have an opportunity to, you know, bring some intention to how we are going to give form to the dream. And different people have a different dream. You know, we all have different dreams. It doesn't matter what the dream is, but there is an opportunity at this time to set some intentions that will be really supported by the universe and the cosmic energies that are at work right now to help us bring form to our dream. And you really want to look in your own personal astrology, look at the house where the new moon is blooming. The new moon is blooming at 9 degrees 44 minutes Capricorn. So basically 10 degrees Capricorn. This is going to be a very personal lunation to people who have planets at 9 and 10 degrees of any of the cardinal signs. So Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, or Aries. It's going to be very personal. It's also going to be very personal to people who have planets at 9, 10 degrees of any of the earth signs like Virgo, Taurus. Obviously Capricorn, again, this is, you know, Capricorn, it's in your sign. So if you have Sun, Moon, any personal planets in Capricorn, this lunation is interacting with that. What else do I want to say? this is a seed planting moment for several different cycles. There's the shorter term 2-week cycle that will bloom at the Cancer full moon, January 13th. There's the month-long cycle that will take us to the new moon of Aquarius. There's the 6-month cycle that's going to bloom July 10th. So there's seeds that we're planting now that we're going to see take full bloom by July, you know, and then there's the year-long cycle that will take us all the way to the next new moon of Capricorn. There's also a 2.5-year cycle. So there's many different cycles that we're planting seeds for right now. And different seeds take different amounts of time to grow and to bloom. And it takes nurturing, and it takes cultivation, and it takes a little sunlight and a little air and patience and all of those things, you know, watering. But that's what I love about the sextile between the Capricorn new moon and Saturn and Pisces. Saturn is water and Capricorn is earth. And water and earth, that they grow things. So whether you're trying to grow a family or grow a baby or grow a garden or grow your money or grow a business or grow a creative idea or project, whatever it is you're trying to grow, you know, different people are wanting to grow different things. This lunation supports that growth in very practical ways, but it also is supported by the imagination, by the dream, by the vision. Pisces comes in with that. And that's what I love so much about a Capricorn and Pisces interaction, you know, because both are needed to make a dream come true. Like Capricorn is the nuts and bolts and the hard work and the responsibility and the discipline and the work ethic and the steady climb and the perseverance and the head down and all the behind the scenes, you know, daily discipline and work that it takes to make a dream come true. You know, what's the finances? What is the routine? Like all of that 3D reality stuff. But none of that stuff matters without imagination, without the dream, without the vision. And that's where Pisces comes in. And so when the Capricorn energy of the new moon is being in this sextile with Saturn, its ruler, being in Pisces, there is a lot of fertile energy here for the dream, for whatever it is that we are trying to grow in life. And I really appreciate that. And Saturn and Pisces overall is kind of a melancholy Saturn, you know. There's some heavy emotion. There are some sobering experiences that have taken place, you know, since March of 2023. As Saturn has been moving through Pisces. Certainly in 2024, there have been many sobering experiences for a lot of people that have happened. And, you know, and so there is a heaviness, an emotional heaviness. There's a depth. There might be a little depression, a little melancholy for some people. But there's a richness in that depth. There's a soulfulness to that where we can create beautiful things. And there's always a counterpoint, you know. One of the favorite questions that people love to ask is that good or bad? And that is the wrong question. It's not about whether it's good or bad. It's how we work with the energy. Every emotion in the human existence is an important emotion for us to experience at some point. Happiness and joy and fulfillment and gratitude and excitement and, you know, all of that is important. But, you know, melancholy is important too. Thoughtfulness is important. You know, times of retreat and reclusion are important as well. Like it all goes together. It's like it's all part of the painting of our lives. It's all part of the tapestry of our lives, or the symphony, whatever metaphor you want to use for what our lives are. But I like to use artistic metaphors because life is an art. Living our life is an art, and our soul is the artist. And You know, we want to be able to play all the notes. We want to be able to paint with all of the colors. We can't just look at being up and happy all the time. And I think that that's part of what Saturn in Pisces has been here to teach us, you know, that melancholy, that depth of feeling. There's a lot of beauty and richness to that, that we can't just bypass over that and just be happy, happy, joy, joy all the time. That's phony. Anyone who's pretending that that's their state of being is not being real with themselves or the world. You know, that's not the human experience that we're in. And Saturn in Pisces, you know, and its 2.5-year journey, and the last sign of the zodiac is here to teach us that. Saturn has been around every sign and is in Pisces now. Hasn't been there since the 90s. And here we are at the new moon of Capricorn, which, by the way, is also the first new moon of Capricorn in 16 years that hasn't had the conjunction to Pluto, because Pluto is now in Aquarius. So we're gonna have 20 years of Pluto conjunct Aquarius, which I'll talk about in the next new moon of Aquarius video when I do it. But you know, this Capricorn new moon is free of that Plutonian energy. We've gone through that Capricornian transformation in that part of our chart. And now it's just time to let that go and move into the future. And if you don't know what house that is, if what I'm talking about doesn't make sense, contact me for a reading. This is such a great time for a reading. It's such an important time for a reading, because 2025, we are entering a completely different and elementally different way of living in the world. Everything is changing. Whatever your Christmas looked like this year, or even if you don't celebrate the holidays, let's just say whatever fourth quarter of 2024 looked like for you, by fourth quarter 2025, life is going to look completely different. That's just the way it is. It's the cosmic promise, you know? And so another thing that I want to say, getting a little hot here. Another thing that I want to say about this lunation is that the new moon of Capricorn is exactly conjunct the goddess, the asteroid goddess Pallas Athene. Pallas Athene is the strategist. She is the wife and the daughter goddess. So the asteroid goddesses all represent different aspects of the divine feminine. And I had started to do a couple of goddess videos. I think I did a Black Moon Lilith. She's not an asteroid, she's a point. But anyway, I group her kind of with the asteroids just to make sense of it. But I did a Vesta video. I think I may have done a Juno video. And then I think I got off course. So maybe I will do a Pallas Athene in Capricorn. But in general, I just want to talk about Pallas Athene in Capricorn as it relates to this lunation, because she's right there with the sun and the moon at this new moon. She's at 11 degrees and the sun and the moon are at 10. So Pallas Athene, she's the strategist, you know. I call her the Queen's Gambit asteroid, because she's looking at where all the pieces are on the board, and she is creating a strategy. And in Capricorn, she's creating a long-term strategy, because who's her host? Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is about the long-term vision, you know. Saturn spends 2.5 years in one sign. So in one aspect, Pallas Athene has got her eye on July, 6 months ahead. Pallas Athene has got her eye on 2.5 years from now, mid-2027. But then Pallas Athene has also got her eye on 28 years from now. So, you know, we're talking about like 2049, you know what I mean? So Pallas Athene she's very wise. And in Capricorn, she's a very, very wise Pallas Athene. So this Pallas Athene in Capricorn is the elderly woman. She's the older woman. And she, being a part of this lunation, really tells me how important the older women in our lives are in this cycle. You know, listening to the wisdom and the advice and the strategy of the, you know, the elder women in your life, whether it's, you know, your grandparents, grandmothers, or mentors, or, you know, therapists, doctors, you know, readers, you know, the wisdom of older women is priceless. And this lunation is really pointing us to that. I mean, that's kind of something that's true always, but it's really a signature of this lunation to listen to the older women in your life. They have a lot of value, a lot of wisdom and insight to provide that's going to be very helpful to you going forward over the next month, over the next 6 months, over the next 2.5 years, over the next 28 years. So key into that. And Pallas Athene is also in the sextile with Saturn and Pisces. So she is, you know, giving an incredible strategy for how to achieve the dream. She can see it. She knows how to get there. And so those are the things that are like directly in the lunation. And then, you know, and this is different for people in their personal lives than it is for the collective, but it kind of matches. I think the, you know, older women leaders are very important in this cycle, for the collective, you know, in America, in world politics, and you know, and this is also about religious leaders and spiritual leaders, you know, those elders, because Saturn is the elder as well, you know, and so I don't know, there's a lot in there about that, in this new moon chart. Again, this is the business plan new moon, a great time to write your business plan for 2025, a great time to write your financial plan for 2025, any plans about around work or career, your profession are great to set intentions around. So I want to talk about some of the other things going on in the sky during this lunation. I wanted to first focus on the aspects directly with the lunation, but astrology is a holistic art. And I take things apart into sections in my videos because that makes it more palatable, more digestible. But I do want to mention that this Mars-Pluto opposition is coming into form. It's present in this new moon cycle. So it will be present for the entire month of January as we enter the new year. And this Mars-Pluto opposition, it is a power struggle. It is, you know, sometimes it brings violence, sometimes it brings accidents, sometimes it brings underworld figures into play. Pluto, god of the underworld, is opposing Mars, the god of war. We saw this direct opposition happen once, November 3rd, but they were in the final degrees of Capricorn and Cancer. Now they're at 1 degree Aquarius. So they are showing us the future, the struggle of the future, which is ultimately on a collective scale is heading towards power to the people, but that power to the people is not being handed on a silver platter. That power to the people is going to come through revolution. And I don't just mean physical revolution on the ground, but when you're dealing with Pluto and Aquarius, we're dealing with a revolution of consciousness that needs to take place, but then our consciousness then creates the 3D reality. And so it's happening on multiple levels. Let's see, what else? The moon is squaring Chiron, the deepest wound. I did a whole video on Chiron going direct. Go back and watch that video. I just posted it a couple days ago. Chiron direct, December 29th, it happened. I'm recording this video the day of the new moon. I wanted to record it sooner, but I couldn't get it together. As I am recording it, the moon is dying. The dying moon is the last degrees before the new moon. People tend to be the most tired, the most withdrawn, the most reclusive during the dying moon. And then our energy starts to pick up with the waxing moon. At 2:26 p.m. Pacific time. Adjust for your time zone accordingly. This video is getting long. Anyway, the exact opposition of Mars and Pluto is January 2nd. I'll likely do a video all about that because I don't want to go into it too much here, but it is a power struggle of some kind, and you would look to the chart to which houses Leo and Aquarius rule in your chart to see which axis that might happen for you. It's going to be most personal for people who have planets in the early fixed signs, Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, or Leo. For others, it might be, you know, you're watching your fixed sign loved ones go through it, or colleagues, or you're just reading about it on the headlines. But it's going to be most personal to people with early degree fixed signs. And then, you know, Venus right now is in the last degrees of Aquarius. So the goddess of love and beauty is looking at things from the bird's eye point of view, making her ideal blueprint for 2025. And then she'll be moving into Pisces, into her exaltation. Personally, one of my favorite storylines of all of 2025. So I'm going to come back and do a whole video on Venus into Pisces. It's actually kind of a long story because she's going to have a retrograde, and it involves Aries and Pisces, and there's this whole thing with love and beauty and art and money and all of the things that Venus represents that will be coming into play early in the new year and taking us through to May. But during this lunation, this Capricorn new moon lunation, which is going to describe the entire month again, summarize the month, you know, she's looking at things from the bird's eye point of view, and she's taking a more detached and aloof look at these ideas of love and beauty and style and art, and she's creating her ideal blueprint for the future, for the new 2025, and that's a beautiful thing. And you know, include those intentions in your new Moon of Capricorn altar. And what else did I want to say? So yeah, the sun, you know, the moon moves quicker than the sun. The moon spends 2.5 days in a sign. The sun spends 30 days in a sign. So the moon is making kind of these quick aspects to Saturn and then squaring Chiron, the deepest wound. There's work to do with that deepest wound. Maybe an apology needs to be made. Maybe amends needs to be made. Maybe there's some physical therapy that needs to happen, or emotional therapy that needs to happen, or a spiritual confession that needs to be made. There's work to do around the deepest wound. And but overall, we're healing now, and we're moving forward with healing as we enter this new year, which is a positive thing. And then, you know, the sun on January 4th is going to form the exact sextile with Saturn, you know, highlighting where we're giving form to the dream, highlighting where we have gained more emotional intelligence and more emotional maturity. And then we'll have the full moon in 2 weeks in Cancer. And that full moon is going to be trine Uranus, which is going to bring a lot of pleasant surprises forth. And I'll be doing a whole video about that. And yeah, I don't want to go too much into all of the aspects that are happening. I mean, the sun will be sextiling Neptune. You know, there's a lot about just bringing form to the dream in this cycle. And so I think that that's a great thing to focus on, bringing form to the dream. And also you know, learning to implement a daily spiritual discipline and a daily spiritual routine into our lives. You know, not something that we just call on when times are rough, but like a daily practice of spirituality. You know, and whatever that is for different people. Some people find that through religion, other people find that through being in nature. We all have access to prayer, to meditation, to, you know, walking outside and breathing in the air and looking at the clouds and the trees and the sunshine. And, you know, so it's different things for different people. Yeah, I think that I'm going to leave it there. I can do more videos later, but this has been almost 30 minutes and I don't really want to go longer than 30 minutes. I'll leave us with a tarot pull in these last few seconds. Two of Wands. Partnership. I like it. Successful partnership. Yeah. Come through, Venus and Pisces. Come through. Bye now.